I remember that Tuesday morning like it was burned into my bones. Boston was wrapped in late October fog and I walked into the office at 6:47 a.m., earlier than usual, coffee in hand, clueless about what waited upstairs. The lights were already on in conference room C. Red flag. No one meets before 8 a.m. unless someone's about to get wrecked. But after 12 years of loyalty I walked in anyway. Colton from HR sat at the table shuffling papers like he'd done this 100 times. Beside him, Garrett Lyons, the new COO, cold-eyed, expensive suit, didn't even look up. Colton slid a document across the table. My new salary, 65% lower than before. I stared, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. This is a 65% cut, I said slowly. How am I supposed to live on this? The alternative is losing your job entirely, Colton said. This is your chance to stay. Garrett finally looked at me. If you don't accept, it'll be considered a voluntary resignation, effective immediately. Voluntary. Right. I thought of Lily, 8 years old, $200 per month in asthma meds, piano lessons she loved. I thought of 12 years of late nights, salvaged projects, relationships I built from scratch. I need time to review this, I said. By Thursday morning, Colton replied, visibly relieved. I left the paper on the table and walked out. In the parking garage I sat in my car, forehead against the wheel. Then I laughed, a raw, broken sound. 12 years. And they just told me I'm worth 65% less than yesterday. I looked at a photo on my phone. Lily and me at the aquarium, grinning like nothing could touch us. She deserved better than watching her mom take this. I'm not signing that, I whispered to my reflection. I started the car. Didn't know where I was going, only that they'd just made the biggest mistake of their lives. I didn't go home. Couldn't face Lily's trusting eyes. Instead, I ended up in a quiet coffee shop staring into space until my phone buzzed. It was Naomi. Coffee this week? I texted back. Can you meet today? I need to talk. At noon, over espresso, it all spilled out. They want me to take a 65% pay cut or walk. Naomi froze. You're joking. I wish. Her eyes narrowed. Don't sign anything. They're counting on you being too scared to leave, especially with Lily. And she was right. There's something else, I said slowly, a memory surfacing. When I was reviewing my employment contract last night, I noticed something. There's no non-compete clause in my original agreement. Naomi's eyebrows shot up. Seriously? Helix was so different back when I started. The old CEO didn't believe in restricting people after they left. He thought it was. I searched for the word. Dishonorable. A slow smile spread across Naomi's face. So theoretically, if you left, you could work for anyone. If you're new here and enjoying these powerful stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. Let me know in the comments what part of today's story touched you most, including their competitors. We sat in silence for a moment, the implications hanging in the air between us. Who are Helix's biggest competitors right now? Naomi asked. Atlas Technologies has been trying to poach our clients for years. They offered me a position about 18 months ago, but I turned it down because I was loyal to Helix. I laughed, the sound hollow. Loyalty. What a concept. Naomi pulled out her phone again. What was the name of the person who reached out to you from Atlas? Jordan Fletcher. Vice President of Strategic Development. Do you still have their contact information? I did. I'd kept the email buried in a folder labeled Archive, thinking I'd never need it. Now I pulled it up on my phone, staring at Jordan Fletcher's signature line and direct number. Brielle, Naomi said carefully, you don't owe Helix anything. Not after what they just did to you. I know. So make the call. I looked at the number on my screen. One call. That's all it would take. One call to change everything. But something held me back. Maybe it was 12 years of conditioning, of believing that loyalty meant something, that companies took care of their people. Maybe it was fear of the unknown. Or maybe it was just the last stubborn piece of hope that this was all a mistake, that someone would call me tomorrow and apologize, that everything would go back to normal. Naomi must have seen it in my face because she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. They broke the contract first, she said quietly. Not you. Remember that. I nodded, but I still didn't make the call. Not yet. When I finally got home that evening, Lily was already there. Mrs. Chin from downstairs had picked her up from school, bless her. Lily sat at the kitchen table, coloring in a workbook, her tongue sticking out slightly in concentration. Mom. She looked up, her face lighting up. Mrs. Chin made cookies. Can I have one before dinner? Just one, I said, forcing brightness into my voice. How was school? Good. We learned about the water cycle. Did you know rain is just recycled water? Like the same water dinosaurs drank. Isn't that weird? I sat down next to her, watching her color inside the lines with careful precision. Pretty weird, kiddo. You look sad, she said, not looking up from her coloring. Are you okay? Kids notice everything. It's a superpower they have, seeing through the masks adults wear. Just a long day at work, I said. Nothing for you to worry about. My teacher says if something's bothering you, it helps to talk about it. I smiled, running my hand through her hair. Your teacher is very smart. After Lily went to bed, I sat alone in the living room with my laptop open. The Helix document sat on the coffee table where I'd thrown it, mocking me with its neat corporate letterhead and cold numbers. I opened my employment contract instead, reading through it line by line. Naomi was right. No non-compete. No restrictions. After 12 years of giving everything to Helix, I was free to walk away whenever I wanted. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone sat next to the laptop, Jordan Fletcher's number still pulled up on the screen. I stared at it for a long time, weighing options, calculating risks, imagining outcomes. Then I thought about Lily's medication. About rent. About the look on Garrett Lyon's face when he told me to accept being worth 65% less. I picked up the phone. It rang 3 times before a voice answered. Jordan Fletcher speaking. Mr. Fletcher, this is Brielle Anderson. I'm not sure if you remember me, but... Brielle. His voice warmed immediately. Of course I remember. Senior Director at Helix Solutions, right? How are you? I took a breath. I'm calling about the position you mentioned 18 months ago. Is Atlas still hiring? There was a pause, then a sound that might have been a chair creaking as he sat forward. Tell me everything, he said. I told him. Not everything about the pay cut, not yet, but enough. I told him about my experience, my client relationships, my track record. I told him I was exploring options and wanted to know if Atlas was still interested. Interested? Jordan laughed. Brielle, we've been trying to compete with Helix for years. The only reason we haven't succeeded is because of people like you. If you're even considering leaving, I want to talk. Can you come in tomorrow? Tomorrow. Unless that's too soon? I thought about Thursday's deadline. About Colton and Garrett waiting for me to sign away my dignity. Tomorrow works, I said. Perfect. 10 a.m. I'll text you the address. And Brielle? I'm really glad you called. After we hung up, I sat in the darkness of my living room, listening to the city sounds filtering through the windows. Somewhere in the building someone was playing music. A car alarm went off and fell silent. Life continued, oblivious to the decision I'd just made. I pulled up my text thread with Naomi and sent a single message. I made the call. Her response came immediately, just 3 words. That's my girl. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept thinking about Jordan Fletcher's voice, about the way he'd said he was glad I called. I thought about Garrett's cold eyes and Colton's apologetic smile that meant nothing. Mostly, I thought about Lily sleeping peacefully in the next room, trusting that her mother would figure this out. I would figure this out. I had to. At 9:45 the next morning, I stood outside Atlas Technologies headquarters in downtown Boston. The building was newer than Helix's, all glass and steel reflecting the autumn sky. I checked my appearance one last time in the reflection, adjusting my blazer, steadying my breathing. The lobby smelled like expensive coffee and success. The receptionist smiled warmly and directed me to the 15th floor. Jordan Fletcher met me at the elevator. He was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with an easy smile and a firm handshake. Brielle, thank you for coming on such short notice. Come on back to my office. His office had windows overlooking the harbor. I could see boats moving across the water, their white sails bright against the gray. So, Jordan said, settling into his chair, let's talk honestly. What's really going on at Helix? I'd prepared for this question, but actually answering it required swallowing my pride and admitting the truth. They offered me a 65% pay cut yesterday morning. Accept it or resign. Jordan's expression shifted, professional courtesy giving way to genuine shock. 65%? That's not a pay cut, Brielle. That's punishment. That's what it felt like. He leaned back, fingers steepled. Helix is imploding. I've heard rumors about their new leadership, about cost-cutting measures that don't make sense. But this is beyond anything I imagined. They said it was about market conditions. Market conditions. He shook his head. The market hasn't changed that much. You want to know what I think? I think Garrett Lyons is gutting Helix from the inside and people like you are just collateral damage. That matched my own suspicions, but hearing someone else say it made it real. Jordan pulled a folder from his desk. I'm going to be direct with you. We want you at Atlas. Not as a senior director. As vice president of client relations. Base salary $190,000, performance bonuses, full benefits including dependent coverage. I can have an offer letter ready by tomorrow. The numbers didn't quite register at first. $190,000. More than I'd ever made at Helix even before the cut. That's generous, I managed. That's what you're worth, Jordan corrected. And honestly, it's worth it for us just to stop competing with you. Having you on our team changes the entire game. I thought about Lily's medication. About rent. About not having to accept less than I deserved. There's something you should know, I said. If I accept this, some of Helix's clients might follow me. Not because I'll steal them, but because of existing relationships. Jordan smiled. I'm counting on it. Competition is healthy, Brielle. What Helix did to you. That's not competition. That's self-destruction. We talked for another hour about the role, about expectations, about Atlas's culture and vision. Everything Jordan described sounded like what Helix used to be before the new leadership arrived. A place that valued people, that rewarded loyalty with respect rather than contempt. When I left Atlas at noon, I had a preliminary offer letter in my email and a decision to make. Not whether to leave Helix. That question had been answered the moment Garrett and Colton put that document in front of me. But whether I was ready to actually walk away from 12 years of my life. I called Naomi from my car. They offered me VP of Client Relations. $190,000 base. She let out a whoop so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Brielle. That's incredible. I haven't accepted yet. Why not? Good question. Why not? Because once I do this, there's no going back, I said quietly. Once I leave Helix, that chapter is over. Sweetie, Naomi's voice gentled, that chapter ended yesterday morning when they told you to accept 65% less. You're just closing the book. He was right. I knew she was right. I need to think about it, I said anyway. Hey. But Brielle? Don't think too long. People like Jordan Fletcher don't make offers like this every day. That afternoon I picked Lily up from school myself. We stopped for ice cream, her chattering about her day while I tried to focus on her words instead of the war happening in my head. Mom, you're not listening, Lily said, poking my arm with her spoon. Sorry, baby. What did you say? I said, Emily's mom quit her job to start her own business. Emily says her mom is way happier now. Do you like your job? Out of the mouths of children. I'm thinking about making some changes, I said carefully. Good changes or scary changes? I smiled at her. Maybe both. That night, after Lily was asleep, I sat down with a notebook and made 2 lists. Reasons to stay at Helix. Reasons to leave. The reasons to stay list was depressingly short. Familiarity. Stability, though that word felt like a joke now. Fear of the unknown. The reasons to leave list filled 2 pages. Somewhere around midnight, I pulled out my laptop and started typing an email to Jordan Fletcher. Dear Jordan, after careful consideration, I'm pleased to accept your offer. My finger hovered over the send button for a long time. Once I pressed it, everything would change. There would be no more pretending things might get better at Helix. No more hoping someone would realize their mistake. I pressed send. The email whooshed away into the digital void, carrying with it 12 years of loyalty and the last piece of my old life. I sat back expecting to feel afraid. Instead, I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy for so long I'd forgotten what it felt like to stand up straight. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Jordan Fletcher. Welcome to Atlas. Let's talk details tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. I typed back, I'll be there. Then I sent another email, this one to Colton Rivers. After careful consideration, I must decline the proposed compensation adjustment. Please consider this my formal resignation, effective 2 weeks from today. Short. Professional. Final. I didn't mention where I was going. I didn't explain my reasoning. They didn't deserve an explanation. After I sent it, I poured myself a glass of wine and stood by the window, looking out at Boston's nighttime lights. Somewhere in this city, Garrett Lyons probably thought he'd won. He thought he'd successfully cut costs and maintained control. He had no idea what was coming. I raised my glass to my reflection in the window. Game on, I whispered. If you're enjoying this story about standing up for yourself even when it's terrifying, hit that subscribe button. Because what happens next? Let's just say Garrett Lyons is about to learn that some games have rules he doesn't know about. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm feeling more energized than I had in months. I dropped Lily off at school, drove to Atlas Technologies and spent 3 hours with Jordan and his team discussing strategy, client relationships, and exactly how we were going to reshape the Boston tech consulting landscape. Jordan had prepared a full transition plan. Office, assistant, company laptop, everything I needed to hit the ground running. But the best part was the team itself. Everyone I met seemed genuinely excited to work together. No cold calculation. No corporate doublespeak. Just professionals who respected each other. Your official start date is Monday, Jordan said as our meeting wrapped up. But I'll need you to sign the formal contract today so we can process everything. I signed without hesitation. The moment my name appeared on that paper, I felt a door close behind me and a new one swing open. My phone rang as I was leaving Atlas. Unknown number. I considered letting it go to voicemail, but curiosity won. This is Brielle. Brielle, it's Colton Rivers. His voice sounded tight, strained. I received your resignation email this morning. Can we talk? We're talking now. Pause. In person. Could you come into the office? When? Now if possible. Please. The desperation in that last word told me everything I needed to know. They'd realized their mistake. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said. The Helix Solutions building looked different somehow, like I was seeing it for the first time. Or maybe for the last time. I rode the elevator to the 19th floor, walked past cubicles where colleagues pointedly avoided eye contact. News traveled fast in small companies. Colton waited in conference room C, the same room where this had all started. But this time he wasn't alone. Garrett Lyons sat at the head of the table, and next to him was someone I didn't recognize. A woman in her 50s, perfectly styled, wearing an expression that could cut glass. Brielle, thank you for coming, Colton said. This is Veronica Shaw, our chief legal officer. I shook her hand, noting the way she assessed me with sharp, calculating eyes. Please sit, Garrett said, gesturing to a chair. I remained standing. I have another appointment in 30 minutes. What did you need to discuss? Garrett's jaw tightened slightly. He wasn't used to people refusing his suggestions. Your resignation was unexpected, he began. Was it? I couldn't keep the edge out of my voice. He gave me 2 options. I chose the one that made sense. We'd like to make a counteroffer, Veronica said smoothly. The compensation adjustment was based on preliminary financial projections. Upon further review, we believe we can offer you a more competitive package. How much more competitive? Garrett slid a paper across the table. I picked it up, scanned the numbers. They'd offered to reduce the cut to 40% instead of 65%. Still less than I currently made, still an insult. I set the paper down. No thank you. Brielle, Colton said, his voice taking on that HR tone again. We value your contributions to Helix. 12 years is a significant tenure. Perhaps nothing. I looked at each of them in turn. You valued my contributions so much you told me to accept being worth 65% less. Do you know what that feels like? Being told your 12 years of loyalty, your late nights, your successes, all of it is suddenly worth less than new hires make. Silence. I have a daughter, I continued, my voice steady despite the anger burning in my chest. She has asthma. Her medication costs $200 a month. You wanted me to figure out how to make that work on 65% less income. So excuse me if your revised offer doesn't move me. Veronica leaned forward. Where are you going, Brielle? That's not really your concern. If you're joining a competitor, we need to discuss the terms of your non-compete agreement. I smiled. actually smiled. There is no non-compete agreement. I checked. Thoroughly. Garrett's expression shifted, a flash of something, concern maybe or anger, I couldn't tell. That can't be right, he said. It is right. The original CEO didn't believe in restricting people after they left. He thought it was dishonorable. I let that word hang in the air. Some people used to care about honor. Veronica was already typing on her phone, presumably pulling up my contract. Her expression confirmed what I already knew. Well, she said carefully, even without a formal non-compete, there are ethical considerations. Client relationships built during your tenure belong to Helix. Client relationships belong to the clients, I corrected. They're human beings, not assets. If they choose to work with someone they trust, that's their decision, not yours. We could pursue legal action, Garrett said, his voice low. You could try. I picked up my bag. But I haven't stolen anything. I haven't violated any agreement. I've simply chosen to work somewhere that values me appropriately. If your clients follow me, maybe ask yourself why they'd rather work with their old contact than stay loyal to Helix. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and for the record, this isn't about revenge. This is about self-respect. Something I should have practiced sooner. I walked out, leaving them with their hollow counteroffer and the dawning horror that they'd broken something they couldn't fix. In the elevator, my hands shook, not from fear but from the rush of finally standing up for myself. My phone buzzed. A text from Jordan. How did it go? I replied, I'll tell you Monday. But I'm officially free. That weekend I told Lily about the new job, simple, hopeful. Will you be happier? She asked. Yes, I said. I think I will. Good. You've seemed sad lately. Kids always know. Monday morning I walked into Atlas in my best suit, feeling like I wore armor. Jordan greeted me with coffee and a grin. Ready to change the game? Absolutely. My name was already on the door. Betrayal Anderson, Vice President of Client Relations. Not a title they could cheapen. Before my first meeting, Jordan dropped a bomb. 3 of Helix's biggest clients called. They heard you left and they want to follow you. 18 million in revenue. I didn't reach out to anyone, I said. I know. They came to us. That's what happens when you treat people like line items. By Wednesday, 5 clients had defected. I felt no guilt, only clarity. Helix wasn't falling because of me. It was falling because they forgot people have choices. Then Friday afternoon my phone rang. Brielle, this is Raymond Nash. Raymond Nash, Helix's absent CEO, called to apologize. I gave Garrett too much authority, he admitted. He's been fired. Come back. $200K profit sharing, whatever it takes. No, I said. It's not about money. You only value me now that I'm gone. He didn't argue. Just said, you were right to leave. After hanging up, I stared out at the harbor. For 12 years I'd mistaken loyalty for staying still. But true loyalty flows both ways. Without it, you're not anchored, you're stuck. Jordan popped in. Helix just lost 2 more clients. They're down $35 million. Free fall. I didn't gloat. I felt peace. Peace that I'd chosen self-respect, and that Lily would grow up seeing her mother refuse to be treated as disposable. That night over pizza she said, you smile more now. I feel more like myself, I replied. I like this version, she said. Less worried. Within a month, 7 major clients had followed me to Atlas. Helix spiraled. Chaos, resignations, collapse. 6 weeks later, Colton called to resign too. I should have stood up for you, he said. Turns out I still have some self-respect left. At the Boston Tech Leadership Conference 3 months in, I ran into Garrett by the coffee station. Satisfied with how things turned out? He asked. Grateful, I said. You showed me my worth by trying to tell me I had less. You destroyed Helix. No, Garrett. You did. I just stopped letting you destroy me too. I walked away. Later Jordan asked how it felt. Anticlimactic, I said. Not angry. Not triumphant. Just free. 6 months in, Atlas hit record profits. I was promoted to SVP with equity. Helix lost over 60% of its clients. Rumors swirled of bankruptcy. I didn't mourn it. Some things must fall so better things can rise. One night Lily crept into my office. I was scared when you were sad all the time, she said. But you left anyway. And now you're happier. You're right, I told her. Sometimes the scary thing is the right thing. A year after that morning in Conference Room C, I got an unexpected email from Raymond Nash, Helix's former CEO. Helix was just acquired by Meridian Tech. The old leadership, including me, is stepping away. I end my final board meeting. I told your story, not to shame anyone but to show what happens when companies forget their people are their greatest asset. You were right to leave. I can't undo the damage, but I can acknowledge it. I hope you're building the life you deserve. I read it twice, then filed it away, not in bitterness but as closure. Helix no longer existed, except as a cautionary tale. That weekend Naomi and I met for coffee. It's been a year, she said. How does it feel? Surreal, I admitted. Like I'm living someone else's life. So much better it's almost scary. I keep waiting for it to fall apart. That's trauma talking, she said. You're allowed to be happy. You earned it. I know. But emotionally? I still can't believe I actually walked away. You didn't walk away, she corrected gently. You walked toward something better. Would I have left if they hadn't forced my hand? I asked. Maybe not, she said. Most people stay until the pain of staying outweighs the fear of leaving. Garrett made staying impossible. So I should thank him? I joked darkly. Don't you dare, she shot back. You chose yourself. He was just the catalyst. That night I drove past the old Helix building. I stared up at it, once so familiar now just a shell. I felt nothing but distance, like looking at a stranger in an old photo. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Mom, when are you coming home? I made you a drawing. I smiled, started the car and left Helix in my rearview mirror for good. 2 years later I spoke at Boston University on career transitions. Your worth isn't set by what an employer pays you, I told the students. It's shown in what you contribute, the trust you build and the integrity you hold, even when it costs you. Afterward, a young woman lingered. I accepted a job out of fear, but the culture sounds toxic. Start if you must, I said. But the moment it damages you more than it develops you, walk. You're never trapped. You can always choose yourself. Everyone says I should be grateful for any offer. Gratitude and standards can coexist, I said. 3 years after leaving Helix, Atlas went public. Jordan and I stood on the NYSE floor as our stock ticker lit up. We did it, he said, beaming. You did it, I replied. Please. You brought our clients, built our team and reshaped this company. This is yours too. That night, over celebration champagne, I called Lily. Hey sweetie, how was school? Good. Mrs. Chen's making dinner. How's New York? Pretty exciting. Remember that thing I told you about? The company going public. The stock thing? Yeah, the stock thing. It went really well. Does that mean you're rich now? Leave it to a 10-year-old to cut to the chase. It means we're comfortable. Very comfortable. Can we get a cat? I laughed. Maybe. We'll talk when I get home. Mom. Yeah, baby. I'm proud of you. You work really hard. My eyes stung. I love you, Lily girl. Love you too, Mom. After we hung up, I stepped outside the restaurant into the hum of New York. Alive, relentless, evolving. I thought of the woman I'd been 3 years earlier, sobbing in a Boston parking garage, convinced her life was over. Would she have believed me if I told her this was coming? That the breaking would make room for rebuilding? Probably not. Sometimes you have to live through the fire to understand what it's forging. My phone buzzed, an email from a stranger. Thank you from another survivor. She'd heard my talk at Boston University. Worked in a toxic job just like Helix. Felt grateful just to have a paycheck. Until my story reminded her she deserved more. She just accepted a new role. Better pay, better culture, better everything. Your choice to leave didn't just save you, she wrote. It's saving others too. I read it 3 times. Then forwarded it to Naomi with one line. This is why it was all worth it. She replied instantly, you're damn right it was. Proud of you, friend. That conversation and others like it stuck with me. At a women's leadership conference in Chicago, I met Eleanor Wright, the former COO who'd walked away from a Fortune 500 company after exposing misconduct. She'd rebuilt from nothing. Women who refuse to be devalued, she said. We're an informal network. Your choice took real courage. It felt terrifying, I admitted. The best courage usually does. She urged me to write a book, not for revenge but for the woman still sitting in her car thinking she's alone. She needs to know she's not. 5 years after leaving Helix, Jordan offered me the role of president and COO. I want to build something that lasts, I told him. A place where loyalty flows both ways, where no one has to trade dignity for a paycheck. That's exactly why I'm asking you, he said. 6 months later the promotion went public. Among the flood of congratulations was a message from Colton Rivers. You've proven doing the right thing doesn't mean sacrificing success. I replied, hope you've found a place that values you too. He wrote back, I have. And I learned from watching you that it's okay to walk away. That night, Lily greeted me with a handmade banner. Congratulations, President. You taught me it's okay to leave places that don't treat you right, she said. Even if it's scary. 7 years after Helix, I wrote the book Eleanor encouraged me to write. A guide on career transitions, self-worth, and building companies that value people as much as profits. 7 years after leaving Helix, I wrote a book. Not a memoir but a guide on standing up for yourself and building workplaces where people truly matter. It hit the bestseller list by November and soon I was speaking everywhere. Every time I shared my story, the 65% pay cut, the choice to walk away, I saw that flicker of recognition. People had been there. Or feared they would be. After a talk in San Francisco, a young man stopped me. 3 months ago they tried to demote me after I reported harassment. I was going to accept it, until I read your book. I hired a lawyer instead. He'd won a settlement and landed a better role. I learned courage from you, he said. Those moments kept coming. Strangers finding strength in my story. I remembered Eleanor Wright's words. Someone sitting in their car right now crying thinking they're alone. Maybe now they weren't. 8 years later I returned to Boston University, this time to accept an award for leadership and ethics. On stage I told the audience, leaving Helix wasn't the brave part. The brave part was everything after, believing I deserved better. You're not disloyal for choosing yourself. Not ungrateful for expecting respect. Not selfish for knowing your worth. Afterward Lily, now 16, video called me. Watching you walk away taught me it's okay to be scared and brave at the same time, she said. When did you get so wise? I asked. I learned from the best. 9 years after that foggy October morning my phone rang. A woman named Sophie, a senior director in Seattle, had just been handed a 60% pay cut. I read your book, she said, voice trembling. Is it really possible to walk away and survive? Yes, I told her. You'll do more than survive. You'll discover your real worth. As the sun set over Boston, I smiled. Garrett had tried to make me believe I was worth less. Instead, he showed me exactly how much I was worth, and gave me a legacy far greater than any title. Helping others choose themselves too. Because your worth isn't up for negotiation. Not even by the person signing your paycheck.